Welcome to the Last Mile Delivery Podcast, your front row seat to the technological advancements shaping the future of last mile logistics. This podcast includes recordings from our Last Mile Delivery Meetup, offering you exclusive insights and discussions about the cutting edge of the final mile in logistics. If you are interested in finding out more about upcoming events, technological updates, and industry news, subscribe to the Better Mile newsletter. The link is in our bio.
Welcome to the Last Mile Delivery Meetup. How are you feeling today? Where are the parcel logistics people? Give me a yay. Yay. Where are the shippers people? Give me a yo. Yo. Where are the tech enablers, growth companies, and startups supporting this industry? Give me a yippee yippee yay. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming and joining the Last Mile Delivery Meetup. It's our 12th edition, so we've been quite a while. We've built up a community of more than 1,000 people, of last mile logistics enthusiasts, entrepreneurs, and innovators. I'm really proud that it's a diverse crowd from all over the world. Today, I'm counting roughly over 100 on-site attendees. We have registrations from more than 45 countries, from more than 500 organizations. This is a true last mile logistics community that you built up. Give yourself a hand, please. We're super glad to be your host today. Tonight, we are Better Mile. We are here in the space of Better Mile. We are a company that positioned ourselves as a software, as an agentic software as a service company in the last mile industry. Our APIs and SDKs are connecting to delivery organizations, and we help them with sequence optimization, driver navigation, address processing, real-time tracking, and services alike. And we're always trying to balance these different stakeholders in the industry. The one that yay for user experience, and the others that yay for cost and productivity. You cannot do only one. You have to make those two ends meet. And this is where we position our company. We're roughly 100 people working on this every day, of enthusiasts in this industry. Berlin-based, but working across the world. Where have you been on? Does anyone remember? I mean, there are a couple of those dates that you remember where you were, right? 9/11, can you recall when you first heard about 9/11? I can remember when Princess Diana died. I was on a train to Frankfurt, I remember. Do you guys remember when COVID hit and you first realized when this is a serious thing, right? That's quite some events. There was quite some event on February 12th this year that hit parcel logistics. Does anyone know? An industry event, parcel logistics. It was an AI scare trade. What happened this day, on February 12, 2026, a tech startup, a former karaoke company from US, released a white paper where they claimed that they drastically can increase, with the support or with the help of AI, trucking companies with utilizing and making their, like humans that do the dispatching every day, basically unnecessary, right? It's a company of 40 people, right? It's really small. That let companies like C.H. Robinson and their stock drop by 15%, Kühne and Nagel dropped by 13%, XPO by 5%, and DHL by 5%. It's crazy, right? The first thought is those companies or the investors are afraid of this US startup Semicap, that they really have such a fantastic algorithm that they are a threat. Do you really believe that they are afraid of a 20, 30, 40 people startup company from the US? If you go a little bit deeper in the reports and the interviews with the investors, there's something else behind it. It was the investors questioning the competitive moat, the unique proposition in the market of those companies. Because this proposition has always been, we have the infrastructure, the warehouses, the trucks. We have the customers that we have close relationship with. And we have the systems, especially the humans, that do the dispatching and do the control and keeping things running. They have the know-how in their heads, right? And the investors were asking, what will change in the future? Does this competitive moat hold for the future? And in this moment, when this white paper came, their impulse was, no, this will not hold. This will change. And there are hypotheses in the room that says, in the future, this will not be physical. It will be the data that makes the competitive moat. It will not be the customers that they build relationships. They need to build up direct relationships with the consignees, with the receivers, in order to monetize. It used to be human intelligence. Yes, there will still be human intelligence in the future, but it will be heavily AI supported. Heavily AI supported. And the humans more in a control cockpit controlling this. And the investors, they were raising the questions, are DHL, C.H. Robinson, etc., Kühne and Nagel prepared for this race? And the impulse answer was no. Why was their answer no? Because logistics companies, and our topic is parcel logistics today, they are what they are, right? They are working every day with hardcore operations in the real world. They're not sitting in the White Tower. It is those stairways that you have to climb. It is those informal know-how that happens in the heads of delivery drivers. It is those experienced depot managers that know how to dispatch. It's not so easy to change this. Even if you have the idea, we want to be a data-focused company in the future, how can you transform? How can you change this? How can you build the bridge between reality and AI? It has to be more than a software and an algorithm. You have to build up on devices, signals, even robots that provide real-time synchronization. You have to normalize the data. You have to validate the data. Just because you're collecting data does not necessarily mean they reflect the truth. Everyone who works in the industries know what I'm talking about. And yes, if you want to have AI-powered solutions, you need to have a layer in between that does the ML, the LLM, the agents. But this alone is not worth it at all. You need the combination. You need the different layers. And this will be our topic for today. How do you connect those layers, those robots, those vehicles, those AI algorithms with each other to create an autonomous parcel journey end-to-end from depot to doorstep? Super exciting topic. I'm excited to welcome our three fantastic speakers. We have Michael Ferguson, Head of Operations from Flink Robotics. Where are you, Michael? Hey, give him a hand. Flink is a robotic startup from Zurich in Switzerland, and Michael holds a PhD and you're in physics, right? So really excited to hear you about your experience for building up this company today and about your technology, learn about your technology. We have Stefano Burscheid, lead engineer, facilitating engineer from GLS Studio. Please give Stefano a hand. GLS Studio is a product building company in the GLS group. And I've never met a sister company of Bettermile, actually. I've never met an experienced engineer that is so experienced also in an AI technology and yet pragmatic. Right? So Stefano, really interested to learn about your experience that you had in the last couple of months to build agentic dispatching systems. And please give also a hand to Will Zhao, Executive President from Neolix. I wouldn't call Neolix a startup anymore. If you have 20,000 plus autonomous vehicles doing their job every day in China and around the world, can you call this a growth company? I guess yes, right? And Will, you're not only an executive manager and experienced, but also a serial entrepreneur. When I recall this correctly, from a trucking company, from a fitness company that was focused on AI, and now in the logistics autonomous driving environment. So please give Will a hand. Really excited to have you. And when I understood correctly, please hold the line until the end, until you have Will's presentation, because he will give us a live demo and connect live to autonomous vehicles around the world. Really excited about this one. Cool. How will the format go today? This was my introduction, and I will welcome the first speaker on stage. This will be 15 minutes each. After every speaker, we'll have like 5 minutes Q&A session. So you guys on site can raise questions. I'll pass around a microphone that everyone can hear you. Also, you guys at home, at the screen, at LinkedIn, on YouTube, at the Bettermile website, please raise your questions in the chat fields. I'll receive those on a little tablet computer here, and I'll read it out to the crowd. Afterwards, I'll bring the speakers together here on stage, and we'll have a 5-minute panel discussion, find common ground, raise some interesting questions, and then we'll close the session and go on with the on-site networking. The beer is cool, the fridge is filled, the snacks will be served. So we're really excited to have a great night out with you guys. So let's build an expert community, share exciting tech insights and hands-on experience. Let's make the last mile better for everyone. Let's get together and collaborate. This is why we're here today. Last remark, little marketing from Bettermile's side. We just released our newest study about last mile delivery experience. As you probably know, we do this regularly for Germany. We've done this for other countries. The recent study is about UK, a super interesting market, very advanced in retail, and we're revealing some really interesting consumer trends and also provide some carrier benchmarking. So if you're curious how Amazon Logistics benchmarks against Royal Mail in delivery experience, you may have an idea already, right? But find the confirmation or not and download our UK last mile delivery experience study today. For all other content, footage, studies, and to get an invite for the next Last Mile Delivery Meetup, please sign up for our newsletter and follow us on LinkedIn. All right. So far, so good. Let's jump on the autonomous parcel journey from depot to doorstep. Michael will be our first speaker. Welcome, Michael.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. It's a really exciting crowd to have here. So at Flink, we work on a very specific part of this journey that we've talked about from the depot all the way to the doorstep. And my role there, so yes, I come from a physics background, but now I do operations, which means I'm responsible for making sure the robots actually end up in the right place at the right time. So this morning we just shipped out a robot to France, which I will be flying to pick up on the other end tomorrow morning. If we could get the slides. Thank you. So what we do at Flink is really robotics. And we look at material handling. So that's only one specific part, of course, of everything that's being automated, and it's the really within sorting centers and warehouses. There we go. So I want to talk specifically about how we're going to bridge that gap in sorting centers and warehouses. Clicker maybe as well. Well, so I'll start. There we go. So what I think we can all agree on, or nearly all agree on in this room, is that the sorting centers or the logistics centers of the future are going to look very different from how they look today. They're going to be highly, highly, highly automated, close to zero touch by humans. What I'm sure we all disagree on is what timescale that's going to happen on. And another thing which we also might disagree on is which path to go exactly to get to that point. What we've already seen, though, if we look at the landscape today, is that a lot of vehicles are already deployed. We'll hear about a bit of that later as well. On the other hand, robotic arms that actually do material handling, so straight out of trucks or from a roll cage, from a pallet, all of this is much more reduced, especially when it gets to more complicated setups. Now, at Flink, this feels a bit strange because, well, autonomous handling of mixed loads is actually possible today. As you can see here, footage from our lab, but also in real production settings. I wish I could have brought one of the robots here. They're all either being tested or being shipped out, but there's an open invitation for anyone in the room to come and visit us in Zurich. We're very happy to take guests. We give you a tour, show you the test setups, which we are about to ship out. And here it looks like it's possible. So what's the catch, right? We all know that they're not deployed everywhere right now. Well, it's a really hard journey to get there on the one hand. So let's run through these examples here. These are all real from either, well, one of them's lab, the other two are in production. If you pick the wrong parcel in a tower, you're going to play Jenga and not well, right? It's just going to collapse down and you end up with just an unusable mess. Now, the one on the left we can actually recover from nowadays, but that was a long, long journey to get even to that point. Another issue that seems really, really simple on the face of it is that suction cups that are good at picking bags are also really good at ripping labels off of cardboard boxes. So you need to just take all of these small things into account when you build a solution. And finally, the one on the bottom right, which is really just our fault. If you make a small mistake somewhere in your code, then you might damage your own robot very easily. And now I've not even talked about all of the issues you bring to the table, which is that you have a very wide variety of what we have to handle. So unlike manufacturing, which is very standardized and where robotics has been deployed at scale for a long time, logistics, I mean, you're going to see everything. Damaged parcels, fragile things, bottles of wine, tires with just a label glued to them. Whatever you can imagine, someone has shipped it, as you all know. And so that kind of then brings the question, okay, how did we actually solve this? Like, what did we do to actually be able to do some of this? I'm not going to claim that we've solved all of it. I think that anyone claiming that is lying to you, to be completely blunt. The key thing, though, is to be able to reason for the robot in 3 dimensions in real time. It's not enough to just take a static picture and to then just plan out an action, execute on the action, and then take your next step. The reality is that you need live updates because even just touching a parcel slightly might change the scene completely, and you need to be able to react to that in real time. And that's what we've actually built. Again, happy to have you come and see it. You can throw parcels in, see how it updates in real time. I mean, one of our big inspirations is the big screen in a Tesla, which I'm sure most of you have seen, right? The digital twin. The goal is to build a similar user experience to that. Why? Not because it's a cool experience, because the back end to that enables you to actually handle parcels in a real setting. Now, I just want to still tell you a bit about what our products are, even though it's not just an ad, of course. We've got 3 robots live or going live in the next days across 2 main use cases, so mixed unloading, depalletizing. Shove in a pallet, it will just depalletize it and then take it out, put in the next one. And mixed singulation, so here the emphasis on mixed in both cases. It doesn't matter what type of parcel it is, within reasons, you can actually unload it. And the singulation one, I'm very happy to say that we'll be working with GLS on one of your Libiao installations. So that's also a really cool moment to say, hey, we're going the whole way from doing the sorting itself with a robot, but also the placing onto the sorter with a robot. So very excited to see that happen in the second half of this year. We also have some other products in pick and place for e-commerce, and we're really looking forward to next year, where we're going to start unloading straight from trucks as well. Now, what do we actually need to do as a community, in our view, to actually bridge this specific gap in automation today? So we heard it, right? There are millions of things that we need to be doing, but I'm going to focus really on the material handling one. And I think there's 2 parts to this. Obviously, the robotics company, in my case, I'm going to say Flink, obviously, but it can be anyone else. I think the principles apply. And forward-looking logistics companies. And we need to work together. From our side on the robotics company, we really believe that we need to bring productized solutions. So not just custom projects in the 7 figures that you don't know whether they will work or not. You need to have something which is available close to off the shelf with minimal customization that you can just drop in to an existing process and trust that you can evaluate whether it works or not in a few months, and then you can actually scale up or down. And that's the whole point about having frictionless trials that actually work for you. Another point which we think is very important is that you should have one person on the other end who's responsible for the whole thing end to end. There's nothing worse than having a systems integrator, a hardware provider, and a software provider all fighting over whose fault it is that something's not working. And we think this is a key element that really needs to be on the side of the robotics provider. It's their problem, and you need to make it their problem if something's not working. On the other hand, we also think that you need to bring something to this, to the collaboration. You need to be aware that we need to start simple and then scale rapidly. So as we said, it's a much more diverse problem than in manufacturing, and that means we need to learn on the job. We can't actually have the robots from day one be perfect. And that means we start with a simple setup. Don't pick a line with a 6-sided scanner. Don't say we also need to flip the parcels on day one. Or small things like this actually go a long way into making your pilots, your first trials, a success. You also need to plan for mixed human and robot operations for quite a while in the future. Like the zero-touch view is a long way away, but we're steadily on the way there. And finally, be really prepared for unexpected things. The reality is that things that may seem very easy to you are incredibly difficult for a robot. On the other hand, the opposite also happens regularly. So yeah, I want to say a big thank you also to the whole Flink team who make all of this possible. Well, big in some startup contexts, small in GLS context, for example. And a big thank you to all of you who are here today. happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Michael here from the room? Any questions? Yes, hang on a second. I'm running. Here you go.
Two questions,
Yeah.
very pragmatic. What range of weight you are reaching?
Currently,
What range? What
Yeah.
So weight,
Yeah.
size, and what is the budget investment of one station? If you can
Yeah.
say, but it's budget probably. It's
yeah,
not
sure.
secret.
So I'll answer the second question first because it's very easy. 6 months trial, 50,000, and you get to try it for that month. We operate on a robot as a service model. We're looking to make the business case work for everyone. Like we want to make it frictionless from the start, though. So we think it just aligns incentives much better if we are still motivated 6 months in to just keep making it better and have your threat of axing us always be there. Now the weight and size, there. So currently the installation is going live up to 20 kilos, up to about a meter, the maximum size. But we're just now getting the next upgrade on hardware, which is going to get us up to 35 kilos. So we're actually going to cover the entire range of parts. Exactly, that's what we're going for.
How should I envision the unloading of a swap body or trailer? And what are your experiences and projections so that we think that it's getting true?
So swap bodies, I mean, it's going to be very hard. Like the reality is that your worst swap bodies that are full of tires that I've seen some at the GLS site, that's not for tomorrow. Like that's just the reality. I think what we will be starting with in early next year is swap bodies that are somewhat regular, but we're fully aware that you don't know completely what is going to be in there, but something where we don't expect loads of bags with 35 kilo objects in them. Like you do have some feeling for it. And what the reality is going to be is probably you're going to pull out at the top. There will be some collapsing, and then you have to handle the mess, which is something we're learning now in the unloading, or we're already doing in the unloading. If we create a mess, we handle it. And of course, the aim is going to be to not make a mess. But the reality is, at some point, it will happen, and then you just need to handle it, rather than just then having a human come and handle it.
I would take a remote question from Sven, asking Michael, how much does robotic speed limit throughput in parcel logistics?
So currently, I don't think speed is the main thing that's really limiting us. Of course, here where the images you saw are between 600 and 800 parcels per hour for the unloading, which of course is not where we want to be in a few years. But the main thing is robustness at the moment. That's really the limiting factor. You need it to be low intervention from the human operators.
Any questions here from the room? Yes.
Hi, Michael. My name is Luke. I'm a shipper.
Nice.
Michael, is the robot capable of sorting? I'm shipping to dozens of countries. I'd like the robot to be able to sort by country, let's say. Is there any type of sorting capability within those robots?
So in principle, we can deposit to different places. So this we do under certain circumstances. We've not set it up for sorting based on country. So this exact setup, no. But for example, whether a label was detected or not, we place to one place or another. And we're currently implementing our first setup where we will be doing the actual scanning of the label as well. So at that point, I mean, it's not there, but we can just put it together.
I would take another remote question from Luis, asking, from Gerion. Which software components do you ship or provide with the robotics? So what is the difference between hardware, software, and what do your customers need to provide themselves?
We provide the full stack. like hardware, software, everything. You need to do nothing as a customer in principle. You can integrate, you get access to the data, you can see how many parcels we're unloading. We have a nice API, dashboards, all of this. You can get in the future when we're doing the scanning everything you want, because that will be, as you also told us, part of the future is that we will be scanning every parcel at every robotic station. Let's just be clear. But you don't need to do anything. Yeah.
Cool. All right. I still have several questions here, and also in my head I have tons of questions. We're really looking forward to the panel discussions. Please give Michael a hand and welcome Stefano on stage.
All right. Hello, everyone. How are we doing? Thank you, Michael, for the presentation. Really interesting. I feel it's the perfect handover from, the muscle to the brains, right? So, as you've seen, I'm Stefano. I'm an engineering and data lead at GLS Studio. So I basically tinker around with innovative products, right? And I would love to show you a little bit of the journey of Better Planner, right? The difficulties that we had, what was easy, what was hard, but of course, as you can figure by the title, with a very healthy dose of AI. So, when we were looking at, let's say, what problem to solve in the last mile or middle mile, let's say, logistics 2 years ago, one thing stuck out heavily. Dispatching is the most important hours of the day, right? Because Better Mile was already operating, almost fully rolled out in Europe, and they did a fantastic job with, let's say, optimizing whatever the driver had picked to build the route, right? Which is great. But of course, if you give your best driver the wrong parcels, they will be swimming against the tide, right? And we see a lot of cases where the drivers themselves, they spend a lot of time picking the parcels, right? Choosing what to pick, choosing which way to load, and that's for an obvious reason. Again, that's how you decide the fate of the day, right? So, but at the same time, we understand that every minute spent in the depot is a minute less delivering parcels, right? And we see that drivers spend hours in the depot sometimes, right? Sometimes they have to, sometimes, it's just because the truck is late, the belt is slow, there was a problem, we never know, but they do spend a lot of time, right? We also observed that there's some underutilization of vehicles here, right? So how do we create more efficiency in our last mile fleet? It's not really by having bigger trucks. Of course, sometimes it is. But it's by having more time. And people cannot work 12 hours in a row. And how do you make time? Well, you have a couple of hours right here, right? And we also observed that static planning, although it is the norm still, have its flaws, right? We observe, for example, in Germany, there's 1/4 of the routes, they face heavy volatility in the same month, either weekday by weekday, right, which is a very common pattern between dispatchers, or peak season, Mother's Day, whatever it is, there's heavy volatility, and your static planning just can't keep up. So this is Better Planner, right? You can see here a little bit of a video of our smart loading zones. It's a bit small, but I would like to highlight to you these 3 AI features that we have built over the years, which is, well, the loading zones are exactly building which sequence the driver is going to drive before they even start their day, right? Thanks to Better Mile, thanks to Better Route, which provide the sequence, the historically driven data for the drivers. We also offer parcel forecasting. The first thing that dispatchers and depot people asked us is, I want a crystal ball, right? I want to actually find out how my day is going to look like to understand who I'm going to call. So we provide this too. And the last feature I would like to highlight is load balancing, which is going to be what I speak about the rest of this presentation, right? So what is load balancing? Load balancing, I would say, is our most, let's say, novel feature, right? Load balancing is basically taking parcels that are coming in a specific day. Through the prediction, through the forecasting, we can see that Route A is overloaded, and it has neighbors that are actually quite okay for the day. And load balancing is the act of giving a couple of parcels that are, well, hopefully on the edges, right, close to the other tours, to the routes, just for today, without touching your static planning, right? And how we did this, well, there's actually a very long journey. This was one of our first features, and we're still, let's say, trying to figure out the puzzle of how to scale this out, right? What's the secret mix here? And I would like to walk you through 4 steps of technology that we try to use to solve this problem. The first is, of course, manual. That's what we have today still, right? In a lot of cases. We offer a very nice user experience where you can see through the forecast your tours right before the day even starts, and you are aided to make decisions which parcels to send to which drivers, right? But there's a lot of problems here. First is 5 a.m. You know, it's 5 a.m. You have no laptop, you're in the depot, right? You also don't have a lot of time. It's not like people just like come at 4 at the depot and hang around for an hour, right? Hopefully that's not the case. People need to sleep. Therefore, they need to be fast, and this is very hard thinking, right? It's looking through your 40, 50, 100 drivers at once and making decisions on you're almost micromanaging the day like that, and this is very hard for people to do, even though the ROI is immense. So we thought, let's help people. Let's try to build a little bit of a rule-based system where we can use normal algorithms, right, to try to, gauge if a tour or a route is overloaded, and if it has any neighbors that are not overloaded, then you send the nearest parcels to your neighbors. But you know, this challenge is not that simple, right? A lot of the times you have landlocked tours like this, the image on the left, where you have to unload the adjacent tours first and then work inwards, right? And having this algorithm, let's say, make it recursive, make it efficient, catering to those edge cases is quite complicated. So we didn't really manage to do this yet. So now we enter in the artificial intelligence territory. How about machine learning? Seems to be the silver bullet for everything, right? Well, in this case, it's a bit complicated, right? Because we do have the historically driven data of a lot of the tour, of every tour pretty much in our clients, right? But machine learning has to also have the output. What's the label? What's the ideal scenario you should be trained to achieve? And the question is, what is a perfect tour? I don't know. No one ever wrote this down. We didn't figure out where this is. If you know, let me know, and maybe we can build this machine learning algorithm. But the truth is, you know, if we try to simulate a good tour through KPIs, and then we are talking about simulation over theory, and then machine learning on top, I mean, it's quite a lot of flakiness, right? So up to last year, we were still a little bit puzzled on how to fix this problem. And I must say, over the last few months, I mean, I know you noticed this too, because a lot of you raised your hands on using, you know, Gen AI, ChatGPT, or whatever it is. The models have gotten pretty good, right? So why not take the depot data based on the forecasting? So all of my tours, all of my parcels, how they are, you know, their capacity, their geography, and we just like shovel this to a model and ask it to load balance for us, right? And the results are pretty good, right? So the model gives a very good result, so it makes the suggested moves that you should do. Of course, there has to be a human reviewing the results, because we're absolutely not there. You know, people will trust a machine to just decide where the parcels go, right? And we have to build a lot more trust to get there. But this was scary good and super easy to build, right? Or was it? I don't know. Well, the proof of concept worked, right? At least in our eyes, but we faced some issues. First off, it was very, very slow, right? You click the button, it took 5 minutes on a good day. Because we're using frontier models, we're using heavy duty stuff, right, to solve this problem, because we also want the best results. And the main problem was actually the concurrency ceiling. We could only load balance 15 drivers at once. In Germany and France, not really reflecting reality, right? We have subcontractors with 100 drivers, right? So we can only cater to a little percentage. It's not. We have to help everyone. So how do we solve this? Well, the good news is speed, concurrency, and cost. They all share one common source, which is badly engineered context, right? Context here, you understand there's a prompt, aka what you put in your chat with ChatGPT, right? And here's the first, let's say, a little bit more technical discipline that I would like to, maybe introduce to you. Its concept is very simple. It's called context engineering. Some people call this prompt engineering, 100 years ago, something like this. We even saw prompt engineers being hired. Really interesting. I would love to meet one of them. Now, we changed this word now to context engineering, right? And the idea is that your model can only handle so much at once, right? 1 million words at once. The problem is you have this hard limit, but well before you hit the hard limit, your model starts going crazy, right? And it won't tell you. It will just say, hey, I know what to do. Here's the load balance parcels. I'm pretty sure that's going to work. So there's a sweet spot here that you have to stay, You have to stay in the middle of the context. And in our specific case, we were naively just sending a lot of data to the model and expecting it to do the work, where in the end, we should chew the data first. We should aggregate, summarize it, right? We cannot just send everything. So instead of sending all of the geometries, which is like a huge data footprint in terms of size, right? Many, many kilobytes of data, we squish it to the parcel level, where you can just measure the distance to the neighbors, filter out the parcels that are in the middle of the tour, because you don't want them load balanced, right? I mean, no one will drive far away to pick one parcel and to deliver them. So we achieve almost like a 10x token usage here, which made our system 10x faster, 10x cheaper, right? So we're getting to the right spot here. However, we seem to have hit a limit with the models nowadays, right? I remember GPT 3.5 to 4 was a big jump, and nowadays I just don't see that jump anymore, right? And this is totally true, but you still see ChatGPT getting slower, more expensive, and maybe with better quality, right? And the second discipline that I would like to introduce to you is harness engineering. Now, the harness is a system that runs on top of your model that will try to interrogate it, right? It will go many times to the model, ask a lot of questions. So every time you click on a button, every time you chat with ChatGPT and you ask something, it's not one prompt to GPT 5.5. It's actually maybe 10, 20, 100. It depends on what you ask, right? So this is the harness. In essence, it's very simple. There's a loop here where you have your model run. You have a system that looks, does it make sense? Did you go crazy and return me something I don't want? Does the basic KPIs kind of make sense? No, go again. Load balance again, and again, and again. As many times as your pocket or your time allows, right? And of course, we have the human check, which is part of the harness, which is, let's say, the final checker here. So with this, the harness is trading cost for confidence, right? And this, I would say, is a pretty good deal when you talk about dispatching and the power and the efficiency gains that it could bring, right? So all of this AI stuff was pretty fun. You can tell I'm having a lot of fun with it. But actually, the first roadblock that we hit is that AI is nothing without operations, the floor, right? You can't really go far without figuring out how to bring your stuff to life. That's why with Better Planner, we've been developing an array of operational integrations, such as label integration, bonus labeling, integration with inbound machine scanners and auto sorters, right? And what else is there? Maybe your mechanic arm from Flink. Maybe other stuff, right? We have to see what else we need to integrate in order for Better Planner to work. So, in the end, we do want to make dispatching the few most important minutes of the day instead of hours, right? We really want to help the dispatcher do this job fast, efficiently, and we have seen really good results in France, in Germany. such as 2 hours of saving of driver's time through pre-picking in Toulouse. We have seen more usage on cargo bikes because people are able to route their parcels better and filter out the heavy stuff to the vans, as well as better planning your tours in Kesselsdorf, which save 10% of their fleet. So, thank you so much.
Thanks, Stefano. Thanks for presenting a better planner and your experience, but also explain the concept of harness engineering. It's quite interesting, and a little nerd dive that you may have enjoyed. Do we have any questions from the room? Questions from the room? Yes.
Hi, thanks a lot for the presentation. You said that you have this 2 things with the context integration and also with the harness that you get more confidence. With these 2 things, where are you right now? Because you said the limit was 15 tours or something, or drivers. Where are you standing right now?
Yeah, well, we're not able to cater to the biggest subcontractors that we have still, right? It's still, let's say, slow, because again, it's a trade-off that you have to make. When it comes to the concurrency ceiling that I explained, that's all good, right? Actually, that's fine, because every run of the model works. But the question is just a matter of time and cost, right? So how good you want to be versus how much you want to spend, and how many minutes the user can stand, 5 a.m. in the morning in their computer. So I would say the concurrency ceiling problem is gone. It's still slow. So there's a question of whether we use, less powerful models through better crunching the data. There's a question if we better crunch the data better, right? It's a little bit, you have to be a bit creative, which is really fun work, but it's true.
I'll take a remote question from Matthias asking, do postal codes play a role in your forecast, / at what geospatial level do you predict volumes, and does that level of accuracy vary across regions or countries?
We predict at the parcel level, so the individual parcel level. We actually don't do volume forecasting per se. Every parcel that gets in the system through the shipper label, that gets a label, gets a prediction. So our prediction is 100%, let's say, real parcels that are going to arrive, right? So.
When you did step 3, the machine learning, I'm guessing there's a reason that reinforcement learning doesn't work. I'm not seeing what it is. Could you tell us what it is?
Very good question. I did not try it. Maybe we should talk later. That would be good.
Okay. 2 nerds will talk later. Another question here from the room? All right. So thanks. Okay. Yeah, Kim.
How does seasonality change and make it difficult for the model to predict? How much of a factor is that?
I'll repeat the question for the remote audience. How does the prediction quality vary based on seasonality?
Seasonality, yes. Yeah, we definitely have a challenge there in the peak season, right? Especially around Christmas, but really, from November onwards. The problem there is not the parcels are heavily changing their routes or the days that they arrive, is how to measure your success, right? Because sometimes you have a little bit of a queue, a backlog of stuff in your courtyard, and therefore you can't really validate if the parcel has arrived at the depot because it's still sitting on the truck, right? So our main challenge there is actually, filtering out the parcels that are your backlog, right? Which is something that we'll definitely tackle further this year for this next peak season. So.
We have another question from Luis asking, what has become true operational AI for dispatching to stop being a support tool and become the system that actually drives the depot day to day? So what's necessary? You talked a little bit about the operational implementation, bonus labeling, etc. But what drives the real application?
Yeah, well, I think the real application comes from pain points mainly, right? We saw that people want to solve a pain rather than actually make more business, right? That seems to be their, let's say, main concern around I have too many courier drivers. I have, let's say, I need a better prediction of how can I plan my day, right? So I would say it's mainly driven by pain. And of course, the AI can go so far, right? It also shouldn't create more operational pain on top when you don't do it right, which you definitely can sometimes. So,
cool. Stefano, thanks so much for the deep insights into AI tooling. Please give Stefano an applause. And Will from Neolix, welcome on stage.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me today. Let's move from muscle brain to the dirty work. So Neolix is actually an autonomous driving company. You're using AI right now. Autonomous driving is already old school stuff. So we are very unique. We are very focused on the logistics, and also we call it intra-city logistics, only the middle mile and the last mile. If you look at the vehicles we have, that's the most mature 3 types of vehicles we have. We call them X3, X6, and X12. The number means the cubic meters. That's the space. So X3 is roughly the size of a minivan. X6 is a regular van, and 12 is already reaching the light truck. So we have another one under development called H20. That's basically the largest light truck. So I'll start with a video. The video we have in China for parcel delivery. We have tricycles, we have vans, we have light trucks, traditionally used in the parcel delivery industry. That's the cutest vehicle we have.
以前那个3轮车送的时候，它路程上比较远，来回跑的时间会比较长一点。用了无人车以后，它缩短了距离，提高了效率，我们派件量也增加了，收入也增加了，陪家人的时间也长了。
有了快递无人车以后，就是给我们女性快递员压力减轻了，就更轻松了，因为不用搬那些大包裹，然后上路的时候也比较安全，就是不用我们自己上路了嘛。
之前我们的快递员大概是在6点半，甚至更早。现在呢，有没有无人车以后，之间其实呢，然后我们能提升一个服务质量，处理一些客户的那些特殊的需求啊，同样也会节省了一些用人的人工成本，包括用人的那个人身安全这些问题。
So from the video, basically you can tell that our vehicle is totally driverless. That's the dream of Elon Musk, right? To have a cybercab. So from the very beginning, our design of the vehicle is totally driverless. And in this year, we are launching a very small, even cuter one called X1. That's a robot helping food delivery, grocery delivery as well. I mean, give you a very high-level overview of the company. Can we switch to the dashboard? So that's the backend dashboard of the company right now. We are not 20,000 vehicles yet. It's very close. It's probably happening this month. And we have more than 140 million mileage, 140 million kilometer mileage right now. It's all operating mileage. It's real world mileage from the clients, from the parcel delivery companies, as well as many offline transportation companies as well. We cover more than 300 cities already in China, and we have the live streaming. The connectivity may not be very good, but we have the live streaming of the vehicles right now traveling on road. Those is dark time in China right now. And on the right side, we have the ranking of cities in China with the fleet size of our vehicles in China. The first one, Qingdao, is the city in China most famous for beers, especially German beers. And that's our vehicles in Qingdao, basically. It's everywhere. The number 1,600 is actually already bigger than Waymo's fleet size in San Francisco. And even for the second one, Hangzhou, it's more than 1,000 as well. And right now, if you look at the client side, we work with Didi. That's the Uber of China. We work with Didi for a model very similar to Robo as a service. We take RoboVan as a service. Basically, the shippers can use the vehicle shared with each other. They don't have to own the vehicle. They basically pay the vehicle on kilometer pricing model. So the rough pricing right now is only half to 1/3 of the human driver right now. Can we switch back to the... So our vehicles are designed benchmarking the traditional vehicles because for different use cases in the logistics, they have different constraints, the infrastructure, the road, the need from the different shippers. So we're not trying to use one vehicle, trying to solve all the problems. We're trying to launch different vehicles to cover different traditional vehicles. The beauty of the vehicle is we actually save the driver's seat for the space of the parcels. So we make the space even bigger with the same size to the traditional vehicles. And that's a very quick summary of the company. We are very focused in the intra-city logistics. It's a very big market, and it's a big opportunity for autonomous driving, but it's also a very big pinpoint for the commerce world because logistics is part of the cost for the commerce world. And also currently we are probably the largest fleet size globally. And also in China, we have a dominating market share, even larger than everybody else adding together. And for the RAS model I just mentioned, that actually requires a lot of preconditions to launch RAS model, RoboVan as a service. We need to have a full city road permission to allow the vehicle to go anywhere on demand from the shipper. And also we need the technology to be mature. A very quick introduction of the technology. That's the most boring part. We have the global leaders, Waymo and Tesla. We are more towards on the Tesla side. We have only 12 sensors on the vehicle, 1 LiDAR, plus 11 cameras. So we're towards the logistics world. So having more sensors means higher cost for the shipper, but we continuously invest into the algorithm to reduce the computing power on the vehicle, to reduce the number of sensors on the vehicle. And the company has been growing every year. And that's the ranking of the autonomous cities globally. As I just introduced, we have Qingdao as the global #1 right now. And there are robotaxi companies under the spotlights. For example, Waymo's fleet size in San Francisco is very big already. But we have seen robovan is getting more popular, not only on the regulation level, but also on the demand from the shipper level, because it's very direct, reducing the cost, providing a stable supply to the logistics, to the transportation is becoming a must-have for the shippers. And apart from transportation, the difference between robovan and a robotaxi is we need to deal with the loading, unloading part as well. Because robotaxi is more like end-to-end solution for the consumers, but robovan is only part of the workflow. So we need to consider the very two ends, how we can deal with the workflow chain of the shipper. So this is a very small example. We work with SF, one of the leading parcel delivery company in China. They use this orange cage to embed the cage into the vehicle. So during daytime, we can ship the empty vehicle back to the warehouse. But in the 24 hours, we can use the cage to deliver to we call it a station, very close to the neighborhood of the compound without anybody there during the nighttime. And right now, we start from parcel delivery, but we're not only covering e-commerce right now. We have all the Chinese parcel delivery company using our vehicle already. And also we are working with Amile, the leading parcel delivery company in Middle East, and also Shopee, the leading parcel delivery company in Southeast Asia, working with us as well. And also we work with many famous brands in different industry, different sector, using the vehicle as their daily operation. And well, this is pretty obvious. In intra-city delivery, intra-city logistics, labor cost is the major cost. It's much larger than other costs. So having a solution to work together to basically provide a supply as the labor will reduce significantly of the cost for the shippers. Right now, we are not only in China, we're in many different countries, but most of the countries we're still in the pilot stage because the regulators need to understand this technology, especially the maturity of the algorithm. So we generally start with the pilot, and then we have a public pilot, and later we can be allowed to operate on road. UAE is the second country after China. We get commercialization, so we have the vehicles already operating on the road in Abu Dhabi, and we are entering into Saudi as well. So we see Middle East is opening up for the vehicle to serve the shippers on daily basis, and we do have a that's another solution because there are shippers using pallets. So apart from the parcels, we have this auto loading, unloading vehicle for their pallets as well. Yeah, that's pretty much everything. Thank you.
Thanks, Will. Really deep insights, fantastic presentation. And also, I mean, I haven't seen it before. I mean, I saw some videos, but for us in Europe, sometimes difficult to understand what's actually happening in China. So really interesting to see that. Do we have any questions from the room? Yes.
So yeah, super interesting presentation. I was wondering how you deal with the parcel handover. So how do you deal with the customer? How are they tracking the van live? Are they waiting at the door? Do they have to come downstairs? What's the process?
Well, it's very difficult. We're waiting for Flink to provide the robots. Well, right now, we generally have delivery guy. Instead of working for the last mile, they work for the last inch. So we have stations, not from us, but from the parcel delivery company. They put a station into the neighborhood in the community, and the delivery guy will come over, pick up everything. The vehicles can wait for the delivery guy to pick everything, and the vehicle can serve as a moving station for the delivery guy. And one example we have in China, the delivery guy used to travel 5 kilometers to pick up everything, and they only need 500 meters right now. So the efficiency for every delivery guy actually increase, and they get paid better than before, because even though every single task, they actually get reduced of their payment by the daily payback is higher.
Any other questions from the room?
Hi, very impressive. Thank you. A question on maintenance, how you handle this if the vehicles get stuck or damaged, and do you provide this if we did a contract with you, and would you do that worldwide, or how does this work?
Yes. Yeah, same as Michael, we provide full stack service as well. So it's very difficult when you have so many cities. So especially for the maintenance, repairment, we generally work with partners. We work with national level partner and also local level partner to keep the vehicle repaired. But for the shipment side, we need to have a rescue team. If there's anything happening on the road, the shippers are still waiting for their delivery. So we need to have a rescue team to go there immediately to have a backup vehicle, or we have a human-driven vehicle to act as a backup vehicle. So that team is actually belonging to us. We need to manage it. And also, we have the remote controller who, if there's anything happening, they need to chime in remotely to see what happens. It's basically the same for all the autonomous driving companies.
I would take a remote question. Brian raised the question, do you envision autonomous delivery vehicles operating in tandem with robotics, drones, delivery robots, or smart lockers? And I actually find the smart locker topic
Right. Firstly, we have the locker embedded into the vehicle. We have for example, X6, the best seller we have with more than 200 lockers in the vehicle. So the consumer can scan the small display on the vehicle, scan the code to open their exact locker for them. So it's pretty easy, but it's generally for example, in China, we generally use it for the CAPAs. It's not quite used for B2B shippers because efficiency is the most important part. For other ones, for drone or other technologies, we are happy to connect with them, but we are still waiting for the commercialization of those technology yet. Pure automation is the best for all the machines because we have the data to connect them. With human interaction, actually create problems. To be honest, yeah, having remote drivers actually create problems.
No, super exciting, this topic. And just one question from the prerequisites on the infrastructure side. So if it's like satellite connections, if it's like road works, or are there any prerequisites where you say, look, there's China in a very good position and you look for cities that you fulfill all these conditions, In Germany, you find areas where we even cannot talk over the phone, right? So, I'm just worried that suddenly these vehicles are standing in the landscape and are lost at the end of the day.
Right now, I think road is fine. The mission of the logistics actually is going to many tough road conditions and also very tough weather conditions. But connectivity is a must. Connectivity is not a must for the vehicle to drive, but connectivity is a must for the backup. So we need the connectivity to the remote center to face a special situation. We don't know what will happen, especially in long term. So we don't require 5G connectivity. 4G is fine. We generally have 2 SIM cards in the vehicle to back up each other from 2 different telecom provider. But connectivity is a must. Even satellite connectivity is fine. Yeah.
I would take another remote question from Nora. Is there also intelligence in deciding where the autonomous vehicle should position themselves, for example, for mobile lockers or other scenarios? Basically, raising the question, do you need a specific coordinate where the delivery vehicle has to go to, or do you have and provide some intelligence to provide the location where to go to fulfill a certain job?
I think that's a very good question. That's why we serve B2B the most, because it's easier for a shipper to do like back and forth delivery from, for example, from the sorting center to a station, from a warehouse to a supermarket to a convenience store. But we are launching this on-demand RaaS model, like Uber model. We have to help their shippers to identify the origin and destination as well. So the accuracy of their loading of unloading becomes a mission of us. So right now we work with different map company to accurate those kind of location on the maps to make the shipment easier or be successful every single time. It's still ongoing.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Will. Thanks for the presentation, answering the questions. And now, please give Will a hand, and I ask the rest of the presenters to come on stage. So, I'll go here. Thank you. Wow, guys, that was a ride. Huh? From robotic arms via warehouse, depot dispatching to autonomous vehicles. It's about making the last mile autonomous. That would actually really sweetly connect.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So very well orchestrated, dear Last Mile Delivery team, to get those, meetup team, to get those fantastic speakers on stage. Let's talk about a critical topic for the light beginning, right? Quality, failure. I have rarely seen an industry where only the smallest share of failure creates the biggest problem, right? I heard someone say the rule of thumb, 0.5% of failure make 50% more manual work. So you better think very carefully about what you automize, because you might create more problems than you actually solve. Michael, starting with you.
Feels very true.
You don't even know the word failure, right? You don't know it?
Of course we do. And it feels very, very true. Like the point is, we see it whenever we're unloading a roll cage, like the last video we showed. It's, if you make one mistake in that roll cage, then a human operator might have to unload it and throw them manually on, and it's taken just as much time as if there was no robot there. So you've wasted a roll cage, basically. And I think it's something we really see as being very critical. Like you need to get to point 1 and below. Yeah.
So is this the KPI that you're watching first thing in the morning, getting up, making coffee?
One of
the
them.
failure
One
KPI?
of them. Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Stefano? Same feeling?
Same. Yeah, definitely same experience. I mean, especially when it comes to trust, right? I mean, when you're transforming a business that is so old like ours, right, logistics, you're introducing this, AI, robotic-powered stuff, and then, and you fail, so people take a long time to kind of consider you again, right? So it's definitely a very expensive cost. I mean, in terms of software, it's really hard because we are at a very fast-paced mode right now, right? In our industry, everything's changing. New tools, new startups in every corner, and you're pushed to do more and more and faster. But of course, the quality aspect is also needs some focus, right? And that's definitely difficult, right? But it feels totally true, and we definitely see this with Better Planner as well.
Will, for those guys over there sitting next to you, failure means cost.
Yeah.
In your case, failure can even mean death.
Yes.
How do you think about it?
Failure in autonomous driving means probably the end of the industry. Yeah, it has been happening in the past years. Failure in autonomous driving has to be now related to safety. Safety is the #1 KPI of autonomous driving company. We can have many ways of failure, but life detection, transportation, safety is always the must. We are actually spend most of the time on the public road. And also in China right now, we limit the speed to be not higher than 40 kilometers per hour. That's another buffer to help on the safety level. But to be honest, on the cost level, it's not on the public road. It's actually the two ends. When we go into a market to pick up something, for a robotaxi, they can park at the gate. But for a logistics vehicle, we need to get into the market to park precisely into the door. Even it's 1 meter distance, the shipper is not happy. So we allow that kind of failure. We can have human to come in to remotely control the vehicle slowly to finish the 1 meter. But safety is not a cost issue. You're right.
Safety is probably in your case one of the core prerequisites to get acceptance, not only by your customers, but also by the public, by regulators, by everyone around you.
Yeah.
This is a transformation, a development, right? Human acceptance by people is core. How is it with you, Michael? I mean, you put in robotic arms in a work environment where people used to earn their wages over years. I'm not sure if they actually accept your parcel arm, do they?
So usually on day 1, when we've been installing it, there's actually people making jokes, it can't do this, and it's friendly, but you can tell that there's also some apprehension to what's going on. A couple of months in, most people are very excited. Honestly, the operators are the same people who are actually working there at the moment, in the installation that are live. And I've been positively surprised by how much fun they seem to find it to work with the robot. I mean, it's not easy work to lift 30 kilos of dog food from a roll cage onto a band every day, all day.
I mean, I believe that they're happy that they don't need to lift this weight anymore. But at which point are they afraid that they're losing their job?
So in this industry, I think there's also a massive shortage of people that are wanting to do these tasks. I don't think that as a whole, we're putting a massive dent into the number of people that are getting employed, that are wanting employment at the moment. When that happens, I don't know, and it's a question that everyone in this room will have to face at that point.
You mean growth and like the shortage of labor actually is higher than the actual fear of who's going to replace. Same situation in China. I mean, we saw it in the video. That people were quite happy that they're being replaced with autonomous vehicles today when they were previously driving their cargo cycles. Is this really true?
In China, I think logistics is at the frontier of like automation, because it's, to be honest, a very boring and heavy work. In China, for truckers, it's roughly 1 million truckers retiring every year. Only 1/10 of the number of the young generation are willing to get into this world. So how can we deal with the shortage? General answer is increasing the salary, making it a higher cost for the shippers, right? So, but still, the supply doesn't change, right? So we have to face, ultimately, when the shippers are not willing to pay such a salary to the trucker, how can we find supply? I think for Europe, it's more advanced dealing with this problem than China. China is just starting the aging problem, but it has become a problem. I think that's why logistics is at the frontier. There's always people pushing this back. But going forward, there will be like people are living into a better and better world. Productivity will be like increased hugely by AI, and people are less willing to participate into this world. So I think robotics, agents, and also autonomous vehicles will be a must. We don't have to replace all their jobs, but it must have supply to the industry.
Stefano, in your case, it's a little bit different. While those two guys replace blue-collar workers that actually are doing the delivery or sorting, you're going after a kind of, I wouldn't say middle management role, but rather someone in the depot who actually tells others what to do, the dispatcher, right? You're replacing their job. How do they react? That let's look into the world that you showed us with agentic dispatching, that agents are replacing their year-long experience.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, I mean, I would say the main difficulty, right, when you're doing transformative work like this is not to do too many things at once, right? So you don't come in with an agent automatically sorting your parcels and a robot at the same time. I mean, this is, at least my experience have been, you have to do baby steps, right? You have to go win after win after win. Such in the case of the Better Mile product suite, right? People don't adopt it, all of the products at once. It's one at a time. And I really think this like disruption sort of shockwave cannot be higher than people are able to tolerate, right? Either with their processes or with their time, or with their risk aversion. It's a very risk-averse industry, of course, right? I mean, you can't stop delivering parcels for a day and call it, whoops, I'm sorry. So it's definitely, I wouldn't see this, at least I haven't seen so much in terms of this is going to replace my job. There's definitely a backlog of optimization that people can clearly see and imagine that they are able to tap now with the help of agents. I mean, it's the same story for us, right? Engineers, tech workers. I just think we're going to be able to do more and more and more, right? And because I still have 1,000 tickets to do, right? And I'm pretty sure a lot of people are like this too, right? So.
All the three of you have something in common. You usually start with piloting, right? When you're entering a market, when you're working with a new customer, You have to learn about the prerequisites. You have to adjust the systems a little bit, right? And then you have to start a pilot in order to scale. Michael, you presented this really well, and I know this journey by heart, so it's really true. And the others probably can confirm. But I also know by heart there are those pilots where you actually fail quite fast. I'm wondering if you have the same experience, and what are the usual pitfalls in those just the short answer, short sentences. What is it? I mean, just throwing in data quality, integration effort, etc., etc. Michael, what do you think?
We've not had one fail yet, but we're also at a very small amount. So I think it will happen. My best guess is that it will be a mismatch in expectations between what the robot can actually do and what is expected on the customer side.
Stefano?
I would say it's operational integration, right? It's something that, again, we have to smooth in with whatever they use, because if we bring in more headcount, more huge costs in the complete changing process, people are very averse to try it out and to, they are interested in trying it out, but further rolling out is where the blockage comes, right?
Will, with you, any city or customer where you had to drop out because you just figured out it didn't work?
Yeah, I think it's a common thing for commercialization, because I think for robotics in general, we are facing corner cases. That's the most valuable part. You use the corner cases to train your data and to make it happen for the next client. So it's very common, and early adapters sometimes will give us tolerance. So we are working. We want to work with the early adapters.
We had a short round about failures and pilots, but I don't want to end this with failure and of pilots, right? So, Michael, in one sentence, where do you see the big opportunities in 5 years down the road in the industry?
So I think the really cool thing is going to be when we see all of the things that we're working on working together in a sorting center and actually just delivering zero touch.
Stefano?
I agree. That's also something I'm really excited to see, right? Each one is building a piece of the puzzle. Because in the end, we know that eventually, I agree with you, in the beginning of your presentation, you said it's a matter of when. There's a huge debate, right? It's 100 years, it's 10. I don't know, but I think we're going to get there, and I would say this would be a huge win, for sure.
Will, 5 years,
Yeah.
where do we stand? Where do you see the opportunities?
Yeah, same here. We're waiting for the muscle of brains. Yeah, so we want to work together, and I like the word risk averse. I think it's a super helpful. Those are super helpful tools for logistics, and we are excited to see the 5 years world.
Thanks so much, guys, for your presentation and also for this fantastic closing round. I think you exactly brought it to the point in the end. We need to stick our brains, our arms, our wheels together and collaborate. And the beauty of this is we're fixing a real world problem,
right?
The pain that feel people every day. I want to thank you guys in the room. I want to thank you at home at the screens on LinkedIn, YouTube, and other channels. Please sign up for the Better Mile newsletter to learn about our next event, about interesting content about the industry. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining. And happy networking session. Give yourself an applause.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this journey through the Last Mile Delivery Meetup. We hope you enjoyed the exclusive insights and discussions shared during this podcast. If you are interested in finding out more about upcoming events, technological updates, and industry news, subscribe to the Better Mile newsletter. The link is in our bio. Thanks for listening.